the AI professional bullshitter.
Right.
Which honestly,
That's
you kind of got to respect.
Lying. You're making it up and fucking. But like,
yeah, just go to assetstore.com and you're like, okay, cool, that sounds awesome. Doesn't exist. 404.
Give me a fucking link. How does it give me a link for something that isn't fucking not a real thing?
I don't know.
Because they put it in link form, right?
It's crazy.
Fucking heck. Right.
All right. Well, welcome to episode 1 of the VRYap podcast. I'm your host, Elders, aka Oldest. I got my boy next to me, longtime friend. This is Jay. Jay, introduce yourself.
What's up? Master Jaybird here. Also, Oldest.
Old heads.
Is this where I'm supposed to go into like more what I do?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Tell him what you got going on.
yeah. So I spent the last few months like intensively fucking learning Blender and Unity. Now I'm starting to put all that shit into action. Got a couple worlds I've made, more in the works, working on some avatars, working on a business, Tutor in VR, where I'm planning to have an app in the MetaQuest store to tutor individuals in virtual reality. Pretty dope.
Out here helping the people, the common folk, we'll say.
Yeah.
The normie adjacent, we'll say. Not quite normies, but yeah, that sounds fucking awesome, dude. Like, there was one thing that I don't think, like, super mad props. All of your business ventures is fucking dope, man. Because you're making it happen. A lot of people talk shit.
Right.
Just talk, but you're making it happen.
I try to do shit.
I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we have some topics today. We got some topics to talk about. First off, it's the elephant in the room or on the screen. The Pico 4 Ultra was announced. Have you seen anything about it yet?
No, when the fuck was this announced? Oh, shit, dropping the F-bomb.
It was the... oh, no, that's cool. I think it was last week.
Oh, shit. No, that one slipped under my radar somehow.
Yeah. No, I mean, the last time there was a Pico announcement,
what are you looking at for stats?
I woke up at like 4 a.m. to watch it, and it was ass. Because the Pico 4 did not perform too well. They didn't sell in America either, so that kind of hurts your... Right. Because it probably would have been a pretty good selling headset had they had sold in America. But, because it's... From what I've heard from the people that have them, say that like it's an excellent PC VR headset. Because they have a link cable.
I mean, one of the downsides to Pico, though, is they have their own app store, right? Which, from what I've heard, isn't as populated as like the Meta Store or Steam, right?
Absolutely. Well, Steam, you can use Steam VR because it's a PC.
Yeah, you can use Steam VR with it.
I mean, if you're just using it as a PC VR headset, it's perfect. I think it has a wider FOV. Right. But enough about the old. Let's talk about the new. Pico 4. You're thinking Pico 4 Ultra. Sorry, Ultra. What's that sound like? That sounds awesome. Let's get some. Right. Let's get some radically ultra. Let's get some ultra specs. They said no. We're not gonna do that. Well, they got the Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2
without much meat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just spec wise, if I'm pretty sure they're the same panels as the Pico 4.
Same
Pico 4 optics.
What do they?
No, they use Pancake. It was Pancake.
Okay, yeah.
So they both have Pancake lenses, both have the same display, whatever it's called, resolution displays. Really, to me, it was just like they got the XR2 Gen 2 chip in there, which obviously phenomenal chip, works great in the Quest 3.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the one thing, well, here, let's go ahead and roll the video. It'll kind of explain a little bit more. And
right.
We'll go from there. So I was hearing some stuff about like they're really trying to make it that Apple Vision
MR
Pro,
kind of, right?
Yeah, Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Type
They go
B,
for the
type
mixed
B.
reality. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I think that's the way to bring people into the market. Honestly, I was hesitant at first. I was more on the VR side of things, but VR is scary for some folks, right? So I think like MR kind of brings in more people, wider net, right?
Oh, for sure. Because there was definitely people that I've even talked to that, you know, my buddy's wife, she was like, "Oh, I know, I can't do VR. You know, it makes me sick or whatever." And I'm like, "Hold on, let's try some mixed reality." And she was like, "Oh, this is so much fun." And I was like, "See," and like it's a good toe dipper, right? Like you dip a toe in the water.
I see, you know, in about 10 to 15 years, MR kind of replacing most, you know, laptops and shit as we know it, right?
This right here. This is what I want to point out.
MR headset.
You look down. They have new trackers.
Yeah. Okay.
But they only use 2 trackers. So it's only on your ankles.
The rest of the algorithm.
The rest is an algorithm. Okay. But the one thing what I think is really dope with these trackers is they use a multimodal tracking algorithm that is it's IMU based. So, you know, obviously we all know the
no base stations necessary then, right?
That, you know, and then, you know, we have our IMU woes, obviously. Right. They use IMU plus infrared tracking. So you calibrate them just by you look down and it sees the trackers, and then it uses IMUs for your typical, but when it comes into vision, it snaps back into place to get rid of the drift. Super smart. I actually I gotta give it to Pico on that one. That was smart. I like that because anything that can make IMUs better catapults
It's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely, it catapults the immersion,
the technology forward, right?
Because I mean, let's face it. I think we've reached the pinnacle of lighthouse tracking in terms of
I agree.
Trackers.
It's going away as a dinosaur. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, as much as I would love, you know, something new, which I got to give it to Vive for their camera based thing. It was a swing and a miss, in my personal opinion, but that's new. You know what I'm saying? That's a way to push it forward because we're getting out of base stations. We're going base stationless.
Right. Yeah.
And with this dual technology of like doing IMUs to get amazing, immaculate estimation, plus a sort of vision-like tracking as well, just based on the inside-out cameras.
Right.
I mean, I think that's a good compromise.
It's a good mix. Yeah. It's a good combination.
Or Vive, right? Vive has the ultimate tracker. If they fix the algorithm to work the Quest Pro controllers, because the Quest Pro controllers don't work the same as the camera-based on the Vive Ultimate tracker.
Right.
So if they could, because in my head I was like, I have an idea. Let me buy some Quest Pro controllers, take them apart and make them trackers.
Tape them to your knee.
Yeah. And I'm I'm an idiot. There's no way that's happening. I mean, you know, I made some IMU trackers, but I mean, we're talking.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
You gotta reverse engineer all that. Yeah,
exactly.
Shit.
And I'm not an engineer. You know what I'm saying? So
facts, yeah. Learning curve there,
Yeah. So I think that was one of the Pico 4 the Pico 4 Ultra is kind of it's okay, right? It's basically a Quest 3. It's the Quest 3 Pico version with, you know, a kind of a worse store. That's okay. No big deal. You know what I mean? But what really made me excited was those trackers and how they interact. And I was like, okay, I see you. So
right.
Now the one thing that for me absolutely puts a button on the door or a nail in the coffin, however you want to say it, for the Pico 4 Ultra, because I thought about, I was like, well, maybe it does, allow me to get something better out of a headset, but it only has 90 hertz. Now, when I think
tops
Ultra,
out of 90 hertz.
I don't think 90.
You think
you know
120?
What I'm saying?
Right? Yeah, I'm
At
thinking
minimum,
like 120.
Minimum.
Right. Yeah,
and I know that the Quest 3 doesn't have it, right? It's mostly 90. I know you can. No, you can't bump it up in Steam, can you? I don't remember.
I don't think you can. I think it's 90. Yeah.
So I think it's 90, and it's like, I don't know the mindset for that decision to not boost that up. Like the XR2 Gen 2 obviously seems powerful enough.
From what I heard, there's not a lot of like a fidelity payoff from going over 120. Like the CFO of not CFO, the CTO of Meta there, I forget his name now. Recently announced like the 10-year road. Yeah, Andrew Boz announced like the 10-year roadmap for Quest, and they don't plan on pushing over 120 within.
I don't think you need 10 years. I don't think 120
straight off, right?
I think we need 120 and that's it.
Right.
I think we get there and then we're like, okay, no, we're good. Like, right. And I know they want to get to that like undistinguishable, that what's it called, the Turing, the visual Turing test or whatever the fuck that was called.
Yeah.
But like, let's be honest, you're not getting that without some sort of augmented reality glasses. You're not going to get that through a screen. Right. You're not getting it through a screen, and that's okay. I don't think we need that, right? I think VR and MR can just both exist. Like this whole weird notion that like, and maybe it's people's perceptions of like sci-fi and movies that they've seen. But I don't think we need them both together. I think MR serves its purpose for what it is, and VR serves its purpose for what it is. It's two different tools.
Right. I think when you're talking like AR stuff, that's going to be the realm of glasses to come, right?
Absolutely.
I think will be the AR.
Yeah.
Where you'll see more of that pushing.
And I wonder
I'm excited for that as well.
Oh, for sure. And I wonder like what that looks like. You know what I mean? Like, have you seen? Okay, there's a YouTube video where this person has like these MR glasses, and they're like walking around. It's kind of a dystopian video, and they're walking around, and nothing's there in real life, because like her glasses like break, or her VR headset like breaks, and then you see what the world looks like, and it's nothing but like QR codes. And it's like, QR codes to like represent to place something there. And that has always stuck out to me. I was like, yo, that's kind of dope.
It's a little dystopian.
But for me, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of sick. Now, what happens in the video is very fucked up, where like this person like comes up and like steals the chip out of her arm and steals all of her money and all kinds of shit. Like, it gets dark, right? But
the
just
hackers of the next century,
absolutely. But like the biotech hackers, those guys,
right.
I think I may delve into that in one of my animes, the biohacker thing. But that was a random tangent. Sorry. Lost my train of thought. Either way, it's a cool MR. I'm down for the dystopian part of it. A little weird. I don't. Maybe not yet.
Well, I think the dystopian part of it's people's fear of this whole technology, right? I think that's where we're seeing the dystopian themes come from, right?
And not to say it's not warranted, but I don't know. People love to be scared, and I think that kind of
we scare easily.
Yeah, and I think that's like They just like it, right? Yo, my hand.
And technology scares lots of people, right?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like it's moving.
Always does until it's adopted.
Yeah, and then it's normal.
They always go through that period. Yeah, being normalized, right?
All right, hold on. I got to turn for a second because my tracking is having some problems. All right, so next up on the docket, let's see what we got here. So the thing that you sent me earlier, those UD cap silk controllers,
those touch gloves.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm ready for those. Yeah,
I've seen a couple of them recently.
So I think I've always told you I'd like to see like the tap rings kind of adopted into VR somehow, right? And I kind of see that glove as that in a way, right? Where it's taking the control and putting it on your hands, and I do like the little addition of the thumbstick, kind of right on your your forefinger there, right? So you can kind of, because that's a necessary necessary thing to have, right? To still get that element of control in VR as well, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that's always like in the initial versions of this like hand glove input method. I think that's always been an issue. Is not having a thumbstick, because like it tracks your hands great, this, that, and the third, but it's like, but if I can't move in an appropriate way,
you gotta move, right?
And in VRYap, like they have the hand tracking movement where you like pinch and drag, and that's how you move. I don't like that.
Yeah, but how easy is that? Yeah, no, it's not. It's not really user friendly yet, right? Like it's
so I
it's
think
not there yet. It's a good idea. It's just not quite there yet.
Absolutely, and I think that's where I'm at with it. I think I love cool tech. I think we all can agree with that, right? And there's some things, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right.
Folding phones, cool technology. Bendable screens, cool technology. Are we there yet? Right. I don't think so.
Not quite. Yeah.
We still have a couple. We got another 5 years before that technology is like okay enough, in my opinion, to like really be a mass market product.
Right.
And these gloves, I think we're getting there. We had just tracking, like just some mocap gloves. Then we had the other kind of gloves that put a tracker. They had like a little tracker spot that you could put on the glove. I
saw in a couple of the commercials for that one. They had the one I shared with you earlier. They had a tracker on the back of it, like a Vive tracker. Like,
yep.
But is that so they not independently tracked without putting a tracker actually on the glove? Because that's a little cumbersome, I think. Like when you start putting trackers on the outside, right?
That's I mean that's
those trackers are fine for your feet, right? Fine for your knees, but I think it's a little more cumbersome, and a little janky when they're on your hands, right?
For sure.
Be hitting stuff, catching on stuff, right?
And it's like I backhand all kinds of shit.
Right. Yeah.
And speaking of cool tech, have you seen the shift all controllers? The ones that you can like flip?
No, I haven't seen those.
So they're essentially like just kind of like normal. If you were to put a strap on the Quest controllers, and then the faceplate where the thumbs, where your thumbs rest, if you could flip that up, that's what they are. So it allows your hands to do whatever you want, and then you flip them down to get the joysticks again.
Neat.
So like,
again, they kind of flip out of the way. Yeah.
Solves a problem.
Right.
I think input methods for VR, for virtual reality, are, I think, still in their infancy. And I think a big problem... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, like, it's kind of like you're saying, the UI problem with VR, right? Like, I don't think they have a unified user interface yet that makes sense for people, right? Like, when UI works and it's good, you don't really think about it that much because it works fine, right? But when it's wonky as hell, you notice it, right? And I don't think we're there like the scattershot approach. Everyone's kind of coming up with all these novel ideas, right? And nobody's really quite hit it yet.
You took the words right out of my mouth,
but I don't think we're there yet.
No,
we need to come up with like a unified kind of UI, right?
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Well, hey. I think we both.
Whoa, back at it.
We both
there you go.
Broke at the same time, and this is what you get here.
It's VR.
VR,
right? Yeah.
Input and trackers, right? We don't have this if we don't have base stations, but we could have been sliding off the couch this whole time. It's give and take. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To bring yeah. But I think I got in not necessarily an argument, but I got in a discussion with this guy on Twitter, and he was like, the input method of the future is only hand tracking. And I was like,
yeah.
I hear that, but for me, I don't think that's best. I think there should be some... I can see
the far future. I just don't see that yet. Some tactileness is what you're...
Well, yeah, for me, it's the tactile feeling. Because, like, for, like, Phantom Sense, right?
Right.
Having something actually touch your hands, even if it's, like, a static feeling...
Right.
Makes that way more immersive.
Well, that's why I see the potential as gloves. If they add haptic feedback, right,
absolutely.
And track for the gloves, I mean, you're onto something there, right? And the toggle on the forefinger, right? I think that's a good step forward, right?
Yeah, I think that's the next milestone, right? Haptic gloves that have some sort of tactile joystick movement. That's all. That's
I
all.
think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think right now that should be the race to get to.
Right.
Like the knuckles. Yeah. You're not beating the knuckles in terms of like anything, in my opinion, other than durability. I think we can all agree that
right.
Their durability is on the side of the Quest. Those controllers are tanks. But
right.
They're basic. It's like the old Nokia phone.
Yeah.
It's always going to work. You may have some stick drift. You may have to shoot some WD-40 in the joystick, but it's working.
Right. But they work. Yeah. They're dependable. Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're cool. I think right now they're just cool. And until something becomes useful, I don't think it's like,
Right. Well, it's one of the first runs of it, kind of.
Yeah.
Like I have hope for the Vive Inside Out trackers. Kind of going back to that. Like in the future revisions, they'll get better. Right. Yeah. The algorithm will get better. Their Inside Out tracking will get better. Because I do think no base stations are the way to go in the future. I think it's an added setup step, right? Added cost that everyone can do without, right?
Even if it's not, maybe if it's like base stations in a way that's not the same, right? That's cheaper,
right? Like without a laser, maybe infrared or something, like somehow.
Exactly. Right? Like you have like a little, they're smaller
instead of like the mechanical lasers that are in there, right?
Something, something. You can
get away from that.
But
right.
As it stands, the lighthouse tracking as it stands today is dead. And to be honest with you, I think we're going to see an explosion here in VRYap specifically of slime trackers. Once slime fully is a company,
gets their production up and going. And,
like I know so many people that want full body tracking that would pay, $100 to $200 for just a set of legs.
Right.
And I feel like once more
base stations, you're looking at $200 just for one base station, right? Which prices out a lot of people. They're not that committed to it, right?
Yeah, especially for it being such a niche of a niche of a niche, you gotta reinvent something to make that, like, to bring to the masses.
Right. There's going to be more platforms where it's usable too. Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, I for one, I own Blade and Sorcery over there, right? But I still haven't used my full body tracking in Blade and Sorcery yet. I tried once actually, and my ankles were all broken, and that's about as far as I went. I didn't really try to troubleshoot it. I was like, this is janky.
And let's say someone does buy a set of slimes from, like me, for instance. Somebody buys a set of slimes from a creator that does the homebrew one. Then they get it and they're like, well, how the fuck do I set this up?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I built my slime trackers 10 minutes after trying to calibrate. Brother, I'm done.
Right. Yeah, no, a friend of mine recently bought slimes that were pre-built from one of those places that are doing that now, like making them at home and then reselling them. And they had the similar problem. Like, they got to the calibration part and they were boggled, right? Like, what the hell do I do now? Right? You almost need a degree to figure that out, right?
Yeah, dude. And like, even me, like the guy that bought mine, he was like, oh, hey, like, for if you ever do any more, like, here's things that would help. And he was teaching me. Because he had to figure out, I didn't have all the answers. I thought I did it. I followed everything, through the guidebook. Obviously, I didn't have ChatGPT at the time, so I couldn't ask Genova. But it's, I don't know. I want more people to have full body tracking, because that, I think, is that next step, or like that immersion that everyone was talking about in 2020, right?
Yeah.
And like 2020, 2021, and that, like, everybody had a fucking Quest 2 headset era.
Right. Yeah. Pandemic era.
Yeah, and
everyone was on Quest because there's nothing else to do.
And social VR, I think, was like one of those fad things at the time, right? Like, it was just like the cool thing. Social VR, we can't go anywhere, so we might as well get in VR. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, I feel increasingly with people like not being able to go outside more, this, for me, is like, it's a great way to get interaction. But like, if you don't feel, quote unquote, like yourself, you know what I mean? It's not the same. Like, my buddies,
right,
I hang out in Discord with damn near every day, but like, I don't, like, they're just on a screen. And I don't know how to explain this, like, or like articulate it to someone that doesn't like understand, but like, hanging out with somebody in VR to me is like more intimate than it would be like just hanging out in Discord.
Well, see, I think that's where like MR is going to really shine too. Is like, even Quest isn't doing it now. They're trying with the codec avatars that they're developing. They're hoping to, where you have like, the Apple Vision Pro is doing it right now, where you can like literally hang out in your living room with a persona of someone that looks like them, kind of on your couch and shit, right? Like, I think that's going to be, a good bridge to get people into VR, right? Like I said earlier, like, I think MR is kind of going to be the stepping stone to getting people fully immersed into VR.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, because I think MR is going to be what everyone promised VR was going to be.
Right, yeah.
So
I see VR doing that in another 20 years, though, right?
Oh, for sure.
Because there's still a lot of technology they got to develop, right, and hurdles to get over, right? Yeah, exactly.
So it's, I don't know. I feel like in terms of VR, because they have the old the trope, like, oh, VR's dead. VR's dead. Every month, every quarter, VR's dead. Meta's losing money.
Right.
Pico 4 Ultra is a piece of shit. The VR industry is going to hell in a handbasket. Yeah. But if you look at the raw numbers, it's constantly
not up. Right. It's clearly not. Yeah. I think that is the fear mongers, right? Like we're saying, people, we, as humans, we respond to fear more than really any other emotion, right? Yeah. So I think people spread and people were afraid of new technologies, right? That's a thing that's always happened, right? I mean, back when electricity came out, right? There were ads showing people like burning on the wires and shit, like when they developed electricity, right?
And here we are.
Now nobody can live without electricity, right? Yeah. I think that's just the natural evolution of things, right?
I know, it's so funny.
And you're always going to have those people that hop on that and try to take advantage and spread fear, right?
Yeah. Well, it gets clicks.
And the early, it's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it gets clicks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just funny that it's the people, you can tell people that don't really fuck with the VR community by those statements. You know what I mean? They're just looking from the outside in. Nothing's happening. Yeah. Meta's losing money. Yada yada yada. But like,
right.
It's not going anywhere. It's only getting bigger. We have Meta has a Gotham game coming out, a standalone first-party Batman Gotham, and VR's dead. Who are we talking to, bro? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. That's it. I think we're gonna keep them pretty short. I don't think these need to be too long. We hit about 30 minutes. So, Jay, my man, thank you for being the first guest, and you'll probably be a returning guest. So don't forget it.
Hope to.
He'll be here. But yeah, guys,
forward to coming back.
Appreciate your thoughts in the comments below. If you have anything you want to discuss, I'm typically in the comments, so drop them down there. Appreciate you watching. If you've watched for this long, you really fuck with this, and I appreciate that. And yeah, have a great night. Be sure, tell your family you love them. And until the next time, sir.